Okay, you low to me, and it might just be me. Say something.
Good morning.
Okay, that's better. How are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
I'm well. I'm well. Look at everybody. Good morning, Renita. Look at you, first in line. Hey, I think we got a virgin to the mic. Good morning from Dallas. Hey, Kimberly. Welcome. Looking like alphabet soup behind
Yeah.
her name. Welcome.
Good morning.
Oh, let me just say, how was your week? How was your week?
It was fast. I'm so thankful it's Saturday.
I'm so sleepy. I'm gonna need y'all to carry the load. I'm so tired. I went out when a friend was celebrating her 60th birthday, and y'all know I typically don't hang out like that. Oh my god, um, I got home at 2 o'clock. That's all I got.
Ooh.
I got three tea bags and some water. Yeah, okay. But I'm excited. I'm excited because we got a good show today, I think. But yeah, it was a good week. It was a good week. Productive week as well.
Very even better.
Hey, sir.
Ooh.
All I know is meeting after the meeting is going to be meeting. That's all I
And
got.
speaking of productive, I finally got completed in SAM registration. I got my cage code.
Yay!
So
Look
yes,
at
the meeting
you.
after the meeting is going to be lit. I have info.
Oh, we do too. We do
Okay.
too. So, yeah. Meeting after the meeting. Okay, well, let's get this party started. Welcome, everybody, to our Saturday morning tea, where we discuss health information, news, education, certification tips, entrepreneurship, the revenue cycle at large, all of the things. My friends over at the AMA, that's part of my church announcement. I have become a friend of the AMA.
Ooh.
I might be a step friend,
Now,
but I'm still a friend.
what's going to be your compassion and sacrifice?
That's gonna be the compassionate sacrifice all day. So, as you come in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. I'm Clarice Warner. I'm the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key. And PRN is a healthcare compliance consultancy located in Cincinnati, Ohio, that specializes in revenue cycle and regulatory compliance in education. And we've been around these streets for many, many years. I know, Mr. Jesse, you always talk about your decades. I swear we've been probably running in these same streets all along and never ran into each other until
Mm,
the last 2, 3 years. It's amazing. But
yeah.
anyway, let me ask you, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? Do you really know? I hope you have some inkling. But if you don't, let me share with you some information on a free email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Are you interested in medical coding but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder. Yes. So, how I am about the music. Now, well, how I am about the music. If you are interested in more information on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder free email course, then you can find the link in the video description box. It's down there. I know it's a lot of information down there, but it is definitely down there. So, joining me today is my co host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name, the coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. Excuse me. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've been a nurse for 30 years. In 2014, I transitioned from the bedside into HIM. Then in 2020, during a pandemic, I created a company called the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other clinicians in healthcare with a clinical background to transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
And let me just say, I am so glad that you are the resource for them because as we have experienced over our several years together, there have been so many questions and concerns from the nursing community regarding our profession, good or bad. I'm not going to fight you or debate you on it today. However, you have been the resource for them all. And so I'm glad that you are here, out here in these streets, helping these nurses find alternate paths in the healthcare field. So thank you for your service, sir. If nobody else has thanked you, I thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, and I try. It's because it's a lot of misinformation out
It
there.
is. It is.
Just with medical coding and HIM at large,
Mm-hmm.
people just don't know what it's really all about, and they really sleep on our skills. Quickly,
Sleeping
as an industry, like they don't know we really bring the heat, and they don't get it until they get into it.
until they get it. Until they have no choice but to get it.
Mm.
And then sometimes it's too late. Oh goodness. Well, how's everything else going with you? Any
Well,
announcements?
I don't have any announcements other than I need to add HTML programmer to my resume because
Come on.
you know
Come on.
as an entrepreneur you have to do whatever
Mm-hmm.
and you got to come up with. So I have wanted to update my website and I just wanted to take control because when you certain things I just want to have control over. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let me just hire somebody to help me, not to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I hired a tutor to help me with Squarespace, and I just wanted to use the font for my logo. So it's not a standard font. So in Squarespace, you have to actually you have to do CSS. So you had to write in this custom
Oh, the
HTML.
code. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I got it done.
You better do it. I look. Uh-oh. See, y'all know my website challenges, Lord.
So
I'm
pretty
doing.
soon I will be able to do it all, including put in a sink.
Well, I can put in a sink.
Oh,
So together we we are powerful. What they say? I'm a force all by myself, but when we together, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, congratulations, sir.
thank you. It was all about
Congratulations.
HTML and hex codes this week. So I'm good
Oh,
now.
oh yeah, I got my hex codes. You
Yeah.
see my colors. You see my
Yeah.
branding everywhere. I created that a long time ago. Oh, I love it. I love it. See, folks, these some of the behind the scenes things that you gotta bring to the table, as you mentioned, especially if you're in this entrepreneurial space. So we got it. I love it. Well, good for you. Good for you. Okay. So, um, before we jump in, let me remind you that this is a conversation, and we'll bring up topics and we'll bring up stories, but we want to have the conversation and want you to bring your opinion. Your opinion matters and is welcomed here. So don't be shy. Get in that chat, and give your opinions because they matter. They matter to us. I swear I'm gonna get your opinion
Absolutely.
matters. This is my shirt. um, if you have a question for us, please make sure you put a Q first so that we know it is actually a question and we don't miss it. So for those of you who are joining us, either live or via the playback, let me just tell you, we got a humdinger today. So today we're talking about hick picks, whistleblowers, and chief compliance officers. Oh my, oh my, oh my. When I tell you, oh my, I mean, oh my. But before we get into all that, now this is the one thing I didn't do. Oh, wait. Good morning, Vicky. Good morning. Good morning, the crafty coder. Hey, Tasha, look, we got a full house up in here today. Look, all the people what's going on in the world? All the people are here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. But before I get into that, let's get into this. So clearly, you see it. One thing I did not do. That was together my church announcement. It's church announcement time. Yes. 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 It's a double clap.
Yes.
All right. That's so soothing. Soothing to my spirit. Okay. So the reason why I mentioned I am a step friend. I see the fingers. I sing the fingers. The reason why I mentioned I'm a step friend to the AMA, I believe, because I went to the virtual CPT 2024 symposium this week, and it was all the things that I needed to be. It's a great time had by all. AMA puts together this. They've been doing this for years, and it was in person prior to the pandemic, and everybody would show up in Chicago, and you get your books, and it was like a full-fledged all day, several day session. And the one thing I remember the last time I went to Chicago was how disrespectful the wind was. I just, because we're in downtown Chicago, and there's nothing in the world like it. And I was like, oh my God, you have to mentally be prepared for the foolishness that is the Chicago wind right there on that water. But now we're in virtual spaces, and it's a good time. So what they actually do, the one thing I love, so when you go to conferences, oftentimes they supply you with food. They give you lunch. Well, they still give you a virtual lunch. So they have partnered with who is it? Grubhub, I think. Grubhub. And you can pick your place that you want to eat near you, and they deliver it to you during the second day, I think. And so you can have lunch with everybody. So it's so sweet. I love
Oh,
that. I
that's
love that.
cool.
It's really nice. They've been doing that for years. You get a copy of your CPT manual for the year that we're discussing, and then you get the CPT changes, I believe. Usually it comes later. Well, sometimes we get it at the same time, but because I think they had some publishing issues or something, it's coming later. So you get that. So that's all part of the package. And then the platform they use is cool. You do all the fun things that you would do at a conference. You do all the networking. You do all of the things within this particular platform. And then they have a DJ lunchtime jam session, a dance session. So y'all know I was all over that. And then they have, so after the conference, they would have like the different, like you would go into the vendor space, and they would have different things happening in the vendor space. Well, they kind of do this here, except they had like this magic show. The guy was great. He is wonderful. There was another thing, I can't think of it, that they had. So they have other sessions that happen, but the content is really, really good. So you have these physician experts who are their specialty revolves around the topics that they discuss. You also have CMS representatives. In some cases, especially with the Q&A, when I tell you the Q&As was they were Q&Aing in the Q&As. That was really, really good. And some of some of the Q&As that they have, they actually will publish, so you can go out to the AMA website and take a look at that. Once the information hits, I'll make sure to publish or post it for you guys so that you can see it and go, because yeah. So one of the things, no, those who know me know that I love E&M, and that has been my jam for decades. And so, navigating all the changes and all of the things that are happening has always been the first place that I go to when I get my CPT manual. And so not only did they have a session on E&M and E&M changes, and so if you too um, have an affinity towards the E&M section of your CPT manual, I would recommend that you read those guidelines, because there are some additional guideline changes as it pertains to E&M in the guideline section itself. So I don't know if you've heard, but there's some conversation and some talk on what the split and shared visit component thing looks like. So they've been talking about this for a couple of years now. There's still some more crafting of language as it relates to that, and there's a whole new section in your guidelines on split and shared services. There's also a brand new section on multiple evaluation and management services on the same date. It's a whole big thing. Last thing I want to bring to your attention is your office and other outpatient E&M service codes. So your 99202 through 99215, it is now focused on medical decision making. The changes happened with that group of codes initially, and or time. Well, there's some changes in the time component, so make sure you peep what those time component things look like. Last thing I'll say about this in my church announcements is listening to the wonderful folks over at the AMA. The takeaway that I got, and and it was really good for me, and I appreciated them saying that, because people were like asking them all kinds of questions. Well, what should the documentation look like? Well, what should we look for from providers about this? Well, if they're doing this, what should we? And it was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Dude was like, wait. He was like, we provide the what, and we provide the information and the codes and what the actual service is supposed to look like. Your payers decide and determine what it is that they want in order to pay you for it. It's like we don't do that. That's not in our wheelhouse. And I thought about that, like, true, like, that's why you have the differences between what your guidelines state and what CMS manual and guidance tells you, because they're not from this, they're not cut from the same cloth. And so from that perspective, when they had the Q&As, it was really a good time had by all, because you had all the folks in the room, and folks were having those discussions and dialogues. So, well, why is this, that, and the third, and how can you do this, that, and the third? And so it was quite the time, which is took away from some of the other things that I was supposed to do this week. However, it was a good use of time. So I just wanted to give you the heads up on some of the things coming down the pike as it relates to CPT for 2024. Mr. Jesse, you have any church announcement, or do you want to comment or whatever? And this book, I don't know what it is, but it seemed real heavy this year. I was like, is it me? Now, it takes, because I like the books, after you take that plastic off, and I'm gonna have to sweep and vacuum for days, because all them little white pieces of paper. What is that? Now, that's the thing we need to find out. What is with the white stuff coming out the book? That's the $1 million question. Could y'all stop that? Could you stop that?
I have nothing to add to CPT. That is you, the crafty coder, and now Kimberly McLeod's territory. I'm strictly PCS.
Yes. So yeah, that's my favorite. That's my jam. Okay, okay. Well, that was church announcements for the day. Hopefully you got something that you can take away regarding that. So next, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what is happening today. Trying to think where I want to go. Where I go. Yes, it is my. It's a jam. I love it. And the funny part is, um, we're kind of in sync because CPT was relatively new when I got into. That's how I'm dating myself, Lord. That's when I got into the profession, was when CPT came out. So yeah, it was a brand new. It was a brand new thing on the scene, and I'm still here for it all. For it all. All right, all right, all right, all right. Ooh, child. So let's start with what order do I want to start with today? Let's start with something light and build ourselves up, shall we? Let's go there. Let's go there. So the I mentioned the information about CPT. Well, HCPCS is um is out as well for 2024, and some information has come out related to what you can expect from our wonderful friends. You know, we always talk about ICD-10 CM or ICD-10 PCS or CPT, but sometimes HCPCS just nobody never picks it up and wants to have any conversation about it, and I don't know why. They're our friends too. Give them, let's show them some love. Let's show them some love. So, um, with HCPCS, HCPCS stands for the Healthcare Common Procedural Coding System. And the codes were released earlier this month on the 6th. And these are the codes for supplies, medications, implant surgeries, all of the thing. Well, there are 553 changes and updates to HCPCS. So don't sleep, especially if you use those. And so just make sure you kind of familiarize yourselves with what is happening in the world of HCPCS. Um, there are Lori Johnson put together an article last week on the release of the new HCPCS codes, and she kind of broke down some of the things that she found. There were 343 additions, 5 coverage and long description changes, 50 long description changes, 18 discontinued codes, 7 coverage changes, 126 payment changes, and 4 short description codes. Just make sure that if folks are using the HCPCS book, particularly with charge description, um, master coordinators, because oftentimes some of this is auto coded, if you will, on the claims. Make sure that they understand what's happening in the different areas of HCPCS. And if any of these particular codes or the new codes, if they involved any of the types of services or supplies that your facility or provider may actually use. Also, make sure that if you're checking for those discontinued codes, because you need to take them out of the CDM, and then updating the CDM with the new codes. And then make sure your staff is aware of what's going on. And then that coverage stuff, now that's real key, because the coverage changes, or the coverage piece overall, helps in determining the medical necessity for some of those things. And so oftentimes, folks was like, well, I don't know why this wasn't, it's right there. We say it all the time. They give you the information in the guidelines. So read those guidelines and coverage changes in your HCPCS books. You don't even have to go searching for them on the web. They're right there in your HCPCS manual. So just wanted to let folks know that that's something that's out here ready for you to prepare for. Mr. Jesse, you have anything on that?
No, but Vicky has a question in the
Yes.
comments.
Okay. Thank you. How did coders do codes before CPT? I'm curious. I'm curious too. um, so everything was once upon a time, everything that we kind of did as it related to coding was for inpatient. Um, all of it was inpatient. So you had your procedures that were also inpatient, but um, it wasn't ICD-10 PCS. Their PCS didn't exist. You had how did it go? You had different. You had a separate volume for back in the day ICD-9. So that's where your procedures lived, and those were the procedures that you would use. So the AMA decided, because CPT is AMA's baby, they decided, hey, we need to find a way or model in order for us to get paid for the services that we do that are not tied to a hospital stay or inpatient stay. And thus CPT was born.
And then also, back prior to CPT, there weren't many procedures that were done in doctors' offices. You had to go to the hospital.
It was a whole different world back then.
Mm-hmm.
Whole different world. And some people are still holding and clutching, even today. like, even today. But thanks for the question. Thanks for the question. She
Mm-hmm.
said, "Woo, 553." Yes, ma'am. Probably because they haven't made changes in years. Actually, they make little tweaks here and there. But yeah, this one is a doozy. This one is a doozy. You're welcome. You're welcome. This one was a doozy. So yeah, make sure you stay abreast of that one. All right. Let's see. Let's see. What I want to talk about. Okay. Y'all know what I got?
Ah,
I brought my whistle. So let's talk about this
yeah.
whistleblower thing. Y'all know I have no sense and I'm sleepy right now, so it's gonna be even worse. So in an article by David M. Glazer Esquire, he wrote a article called "The Wordy Whistleblower." And why are you chuckling, sir? I thought this was so appropriate for us and timely for us, since we just talked about. And
Yeah.
I think folks walked away last week contemplating whistleblowing. I felt some kind of way, like, am I starting a revolution out here in these streets for whistleblowers to unite? I don't know.
And if so, remember us when you get your money.
Where did you get it from? Who helped you? Who what was the jam? You know what? I love that. Thank you, Mr. Jesse, for sharing that. Because these are not the things that you hear from regular health information professionals. Not at all. Not at all. That's right. Yes, I got the whistle. I got the whistle. Okay. So in this article, he talks about that there may be people in your organization who are in their feelings and feeling some kind of way about some improper behavior that is happening, things that they have seen or heard or may be forced to do because of procedure, because of policies, because of uh, their leadership, higher up, etc. And they may be in their feelings about it. Um, and they may feel that folks are complicit in what is happening. And oftentimes you have people who will say something. They will speak amongst themselves. Hey, have you noticed this, that? Have you seen this? What are your thoughts on this? So it'll start as a quiet storm, just light trickle, just light rain coming down, until it becomes a full-fledged thunderstorm. So then at this point, they may have talked to their supervisor. They may talk to their manager. They may even take it further up to the director. And oftentimes, folks may, oh, well, no, this is not what you think it is. Or, they may try to talk them down from the storm. Well, in this particular case, he talks about a nurse who believed that her supervisor was trying to skew quality data. And this was one of his clients. And the thing was, this nurse got to nursing. She started documenting everything. Everything. They said the complaint was the length of a dissertation. If you're familiar, ma'am and sir, she put it all out there. Now the thing was, it was emotional, and it was all over the place. He or she, it didn't say she, he or she may have started one place, and then as the thoughts were just spewing out of her or him, they just started writing and talking and saying and putting examples and all of the things. So it was all over the place. So folks were discarding it because of the length and the way in which it was presented, which could have been a whole horrible mess, because there were some valid things that happened. But the other part of the problem was that um she ultimately had to send her concerns to her compliance department. And once she talked to compliance, again, a good compliance department will investigate and see what's going. They're not going to discard. They're going to see. They're going to take the time. They're going to read. They're going to determine. They're going to do some investigation. They're going to see what the validity of all of this stuff is. But didn't her supervisor, lightweight, try to retaliate against this particular person? Like, where they do this at? I don't understand.
Almost everywhere.
Tell him. Tell him. So this became a whole thing, and the beauty of it is twofold. I think whoever is on compliance, at least someone knew that if you could not speak to or get anywhere with your supervisors and leadership, that there is another place that you can go internal, because ultimately those folks in compliance want you to have a conversation with them so they can handle it internally, and because it may be something that's happening in your department, but it could be something that's wider and organization wide. And so you want to make sure that everybody is on point and is provided the opportunity and education on how to remedy the thing if it is proven to be a thing. I'll say it that way. But compliance also has a duty, because if there is some payment that is a result of this, they also have a duty to disclose that as well. We talked about that. But there's a way to do it, and compliance can assist in making sure that that is done appropriately. If you have a good compliance department and they're not complicit in anything that's happening as well. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. But anyway, so this thing was around quality, safety and quality goals. And this particular organization, they received bonuses for meeting certain quality and safety metrics. And so that's why folks were playing around with the quality data and the numbers. And so, when you messing with folks' coins, folks get real, real funny. And yeah, it's bad. And so it said in an anonymous survey, it says that their supervisor encouraged them to raise compliance concerns because the bonus linked to the percentage of of the supervisees. And so everybody is incentivized to make sure that things look the way they need to look so that they can get the bonuses at um, the year end of the year, whenever they get their bonuses. Um, but again, this whole thing happened for like 2 years, um, going back and forth, and um, unfortunately, that whole retaliation and discipline by the supervisor didn't help the situation at all. Um, I don't think he said what happened to that supervisor, but just make sure. Um, Long story short, just make sure when you are there was a lot of things in here for me. Just make sure that you're documenting. We talked about that before. If you're seeing something that doesn't look right, smell right, feel right, make sure you document. Have those conversations. If things are still not, if you feel like they're not paying attention to you, or listening to your conversations, escalate that to compliance. Um, if you still don't feel like you're getting what you need, then of course you need to do what you need to do, and y'all already know the $8 million story. So, Mr. Jesse, did you have anything to add to that?
I just wanted to say just quickly um, that when you were talking about this woman and her when you're writing a complaint, when you're going through something, it is emotional. And I remember I worked at a company, and one of my coworkers was in this same situation. She was being harassed, and I wrote every one of her complaints,
Mm,
and she would send me, and I'm like, no, like you got to. And I was telling her, so you have to take the emotion out of it. I said, it's not about your feelings.
just the
It
facts.
is about right, exactly. It's about the facts and it's about the law. What did they violate? What
Yep.
you're saying that you're being harassed, but on what basis and how? All you have to
Yep.
do is just stick to the facts. Like nobody cares about how you feel about her or what you think the intention is. That's no, 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 no. You
Mm-hmm.
document what happened, and you have. And I told her, I said, anything, whatever format you use, if you're going to give the time and date for this one for this meeting, you give the time and date for all of them, or you change the format so there's some consistency
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to pick it apart.
Mm-hmm.
And because I rewrote all her stuff and she listened, now um, she has a private lawyer and she's suing because she's already the EEOC said that she had a right to sue, so she has a case. So
Nice.
I'm just waiting to get my cut.
Long story short.
Long story short, and I only learned that because I had a friend, a very good friend, who worked in HR for GlaxoSmithKline. So she helped me years ago put me on game. So
Nice. 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 That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. Let's see. Do I got any comments before I go? Is that 8 million? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, they laughed at me, not the whistle. Yes. The whole whistle. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. That is great information and great advice. And if it's too much and you can't separate the emotion, find somebody to help you. Find somebody to help you. First of all, y'all know Mr. Jesse. There is nothing Mr. Jesse cannot and will not do. She was like, she got you for the legal counsel. Like,
I felt
you know,
like it.
right, right. But just helping you put together your statement, helping you. And I'll say this too. I talk about, because of my compliance background, and I speak on that. Um, but know this, that the compliance office doesn't necessarily work for you. Let's just say that.
Thank you.
Now, while while we'll flesh it out and be impartial as we can, we're presenting the facts, we're presenting the information as we see it, but at the end of the day, you have your information and the organization has their information. Oftentimes the organization has a legal department who works for the organization, and they're going to do what they need to do for the organization. Please keep that in mind.
And what
FYI.
people have to and what people have to understand, especially when it comes to compliance and when you are making a complaint, termination is not a bad thing.
Mm.
And more than likely, that is what will happen. Because this same story with my friend, I told her a year and a half before they fired her. I said, they're going to fire you. This is only just to establish a paper trail and to buy you some time. That's going to happen. They're going to get rid of you. They're not going to side with you over her. She's
Mm-hmm.
on their side. It's not going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. Being terminated will help you in the long run.
It will help you. My advice is make sure, we talked about this I think last week. Have your documents for them and have your documents for you. So have don't put their stuff on their computer. Don't put their stuff on they phone. No, no, no. Keep your stuff separate and apart. Period.
Oh, and you know
And that was for free.
what? But you know what some companies have started doing, and I realized it this year because my company did it. You now they you have to sign a policy that you don't forward any any information, and that's exactly why they stop it because they don't
Mm-hmm.
want people to have a paper trail and that they
Mm-hmm.
got a whole 10 gigabyte file somewhere full of
Mm-hmm.
emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then the other thing, unfortunately, with so say something happens. Say there's an investigation. Um, if there's an investigation and there are emails, then that whole email, everybody involved in that particular email is then part of that investigation. So when I worked corporately, and I would have their phone and I would have my phone, because if you were part of the investigation, CC, BCC, whatever, if your name shows up, they can take your device and go through your device and keep whatever and pull whatever based on that particular investigation. So if it's forwarded to you or whatever, now you're part of the chain, and you don't want those problems. So keep everything separate, as separate as you can. There's a way. I mean, you ain't got to email it.
Screenshots.
You ain't got to email it. We got, what is it? We got cameras for a reason. You ain't got to email
That's right.
it.
I screenshot almost. I can't even tell you, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole. That's in the meeting after the meeting. Let's talk about the whole the power of the screenshot, shall we? All right, all right. All right. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring up was, as we parlayed and talked about compliance. So we told you a long time ago that it's not just providers that the OIG goes after. The OIG has, they don't care who you are. Let's just say that. If you're doing wrong and it's found that you're doing wrong, they coming for you. You can get it too. So get in line. You can get it too. Well, this week, the Office of or the Department of Justice released just on Thursday information about a Florida man who was sentenced to 4 years and 6 months in prison and ordered to pay $21.7 million in restitution in his role in a healthcare fraud and wire fraud conspiracy that resulted in over $50 million in false and fraudulent claims being submitted to Medicare. This man was not a provider. This man was the chief compliance officer of a pharmacy holding company that billed Medicare for dispensing lidocaine and diabetic testing supplies that Medicare beneficiaries did not need or want. He had some conspirators. I can't get it out. So he did not operate alone. Um, but yeah, the evidence that was presented showed that Mr. King and his partners took several steps to try to conceal their scheme, including enrolling their mail order pharmacies as brick and mortar retail pharmacies to evade more rigorous oversight, shipping prescription refills for high reimbursing medication and supplies without patient consent, concealing the ownership of A1C Holdings LLC and its pharmacies, and transferring patients between these pharmacies without patient consent. Each of these steps was taken to ensure that profitable medications and supplies, like the lidocaine and diabetic testing supplies, continued to be billed to Medicare. In June, King was convicted of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and wire fraud. The OIG and the FBI were also involved in the investigation of this particular case. Ma'am, sirs, folks, play with the OIG if you want to. Play with the Department of Justice if you want to. Don't play with these folks and their money. It won't look good for you. This man has mass restitution and he's going to jail. Just, just, I don't know. So, yeah, even chief compliance officers can get
That's wild.
it. and, and your chief compliance officer should be helping make sure that you are doing things according to what the rules and the regulations, not looking for loopholes to help you. Come on now. So
But
I would always, even my clients, here's the box. The box is an absolute. Step outside that box if you want to. You can get close to that line. You can get as close as is possible to the line. And you have all this other room in this box. But once you get outside this box, you open up yourself to all kinds of hurt and harm and danger. Stay in the box. Stay safe. Stay safe in the box. Ooh,
because they don't catch everybody,
no.
but you just run the risk of you just might be the one.
You are now the example, sir. You are the
Exactly.
example. You are the example. And you know better. Just I hear the "For the Love of Money" song in my head right now. Like,
That
is
was an
it worth
amazing
it?
show.
Huh?
That was an amazing show.
Was it?
Greed on
Yes.
CNBC. That was the theme song
Was
for the show. Yes.
it? Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. It's so easy. The dollar signs, you see it, you think, "Oh my God, this is easy." And because of the three card Molly that they were trying to play with concealing all of this, you can't say it was, "Oh, we didn't know. It was an accident." No, you knew and tried to cover it up. Don't do that. Don't do that. So yeah, we had hick picks, whistleblowers, and compliance officers. Oh my. Oh
And
my.
but circling back really quickly to
Hmm.
whistleblowers, I think if more people knew how to do it, I think there would be more. I really do. I just think most people don't have any clue how to go about it.
Really?
I
I
do.
think there's a whole, I'll look for that. We could talk about that next week. I think
I
there's a
mean, we
whole
know that there's a process, but I mean, it's not readily known to people.
well, let me say this again, a compliance department who is worth their weight and doing what they're supposed to do, that's an option. We tell them if you don't feel like your concern is being addressed in the manner that you see fit, you can go outside and have the conversations with whomever you need to. We told folks that. Open the door.
Can I tell you, I ain't never had that.
We opened the door. We let them know because we were there. Now, don't get me wrong, and I said this to say, compliance is for the organization, but compliance protects the employee too against the organization in a lot of circumstances and situations, especially with retaliation, because retaliation is a no-no in most organizations. They real were real clear in um, having a policy related to that, because you want people to feel comfortable coming to you to tell you, hey, this is something is not right, because you can't we can't the compliance department is only so big and they can't fix everything. They don't know everything, so they rely on people to come to them and be like, you know what, I saw XYZ, and is this right? Maybe, I don't know, I'm not certain for sure. It could be right, I don't know, but I need somebody to take a look at this. And that's how we were able to kind of uncover to see, is there a problem? Do we have a process issue? How can we fix it? Whatever. So we rely on them to provide. We relied on employees to provide the information. So you always want to have an open door. You want to have it where people feel comfortable coming to you. Um, and so we did protect, and we had several of those instances where we had to protect employees against the employer. And some leadership folks were no longer with the organization because they tried to pull it, and we were like, absolutely not, nope. But at the end of the day, depending on what it is, it's about the organization. Just know that.
Right.
Yeah, she said, nah, Jesse, I think half of them job scared. That too.
And that could, yeah, that's always a possibility.
Yeah, that is. We were talking about um our OHEMA. We have a book club, and we read a book um about the ideal team player. And conversations revolved around loyalty, and it was interesting that folks concept of loyalty as it relates to these jobs out here in these streets. And I remember back in the day, my mom's day, those boomers days, where you were taught, go get the good job, and you stick with that job forever, and you do all the things whatever for the job. Well, in my lifetime, I've witnessed where them jobs don't care about you. You just a number. I mean, it's transactional. You come and you do the job that they hired you to do, hopefully, because sometimes it'd be something totally different, and then they pay you and compensate you for that. And that's what it is. Ultimately, you are a number, because if something happens, say, there's a shift in business and they got to make cuts, you a number on the list. It's not personal. um and so folks have in some mindsets still have that quote unquote loyalty to the job, but the job doesn't necessarily share that loyalty to the employee. And I think the millennials now, they ain't having it. It's all about me. And what can you do for me in order for me to provide the transactional relationship that we need to have? And so I think they come with a better mindset versus, oh, I'm gonna do whatever it is. I'm gonna stay all these extra hours. I'm gonna work myself to death. I'm gonna do, because you can die today and be replaced tomorrow. Like, oh, it was sad. We went to the funeral, but welcome Jane. And Jane is now taking over Sarah's spot. While her family is still going through whatever they're going through the death, they've moved on. And so it was real interesting to hear the conversation regarding um the quote unquote loyalty between employees and employers. What'd she say? If they know what we know, I'm telling, cause I ain't got time to fight for my life for y'all stuff. Cause shoe on the other foot, they'll drop you once you become a liability to them. Exactly. And employees are a dime a dozen to them. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Now,
Um, Go ahead, Mr. Jesse.
the people who are going to change the game are these Gen Xers
And Z's
and and
and one,
Z.
two, threes or whatever comes after. Cause
Because can I tell you, they have they have an entirely different mentality. They already from the door. I've seen videos like they already know that. Listen, the way to get your money is the job hop. They like 2 years and you out. Go someplace else.
and the funny thing is like that would be career suicide to somebody in our age or older. Like, why you got 8 jobs in 2 years?
Exactly.
Like, this is the way I advanced. I couldn't advance through you, so I advanced this way. And so while it wasn't a straight line, it may have been a zigzag line, but we got here. We got here on our own merit.
And because we also have to like what is totally lost in this whole loyalty conversation is um companies took care of people. There was a time that if you worked at a job, let's just say 15 years, and you had to go to retirement at 20, you could retire in 20 years. Those last 5 years, short of shooting the CEO, they were not going to fire you.
They might not even fired you if you shot the CEO.
Exactly. But lately, there are people now, like the closer you get to retirement at some of these corporations, you become a target.
That is horrible. That is ageism at its finest. And that is
But
horrible.
it even happens in the military. Because what happened was, because I used to be a Department of Defense civilian employee,
Mhm.
and they had a whole lot of people, I guess, who were like in their 18, like their 18, 17, 18, 19th year. They came up with some bogus plan to get rid of a good bulk of them or force them to leave. Then they ended up having a leadership shortage. Well, what do you think is going to what do you think is going to happen when you
You done pushed them all out the door.
exactly?
And these new people coming in, they don't know. Oh, Lord Jesus.
But you're right, it is ageism because that's what happens.
It is
Like,
ageism. And the
and
crazy part is, like, they seem to think in some industries, this may be the case, but I think in our industry it's a little different. So you're not paying the person who's been there all of this money. You paying a new person coming in all of this money. It's not the same. The dollars are not the same. So while you may think, oh my God, this person has been here and they may be making 6 figures or whatever, your new person coming in demanding that same salary because they done the research. Oh, this is the amount of money that you're supposed to get, whatever. So it's not like you're saving anything by trying to hire somebody in new. No. Uh-uh. Nope.
yep,
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Whew. So much. So much.
it is.
Do they be having these conversations where, do they? I know some years ago, because I actually did a presentation on um the generations in the workplace, and trying to prepare, because you got so many generations working in a workplace at this time, and trying to understand and making sure you navigate and communicate, be able to communicate with the people. um and it's just remarkable to see, and COVID, with the pandemic and what has happened from that, it has just, things that was slowly moving and churning in that particular direction. COVID, it brought it here. That 5 year turnaround, no, it came in 6 months. All the things that we talked about, all the things that we saw. We are here and we're experiencing it now. So hats off to you millennials and Gen Zs and Gen and 1, 2, 3s and whatever else you, I don't know who puts the names and numbers behind what the generations coming before, but hats off to y'all. Um and lead the way. I see y'all.
Definitely, because
I see y'all.
there needs to be a change because like this mentality needs to go away, and it is slowly but surely because the old guard like they in their seventies they holding on barely
Holding
with
on.
their, but that's all right. They
White
can't hold
knuckle
on forever.
clenched fists
Yeah,
like no, no.
they can't hold
And
on forever.
the crazy part is, even in our conversation, I had to bring up our favorite word. Like, well, I think what y'all not saying here is gatekeeping.
Hmm.
Everybody got the big eye.
Hmm. Oh, see, people hate the truth.
Yeah, so it was a good time had by all. Good time had by all. All
Yeah.
right. I love just interacting with different folks just to get folks' perspective to see well where they head at, what's happening here. So it was a great time had by all. All right. We are at the top of the hour. This was good. This was good. Was the tea spilled today? Did y'all feel some tea?
Definitely. And the whole takeaway from today is when you go to the compliance department, bring the facts, not emotion.
Exactly. That's right. Bring the facts. And make sure you keep your separate set of facts.
There you
Keep the separate set of facts. Yes, 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 yes. All right, all right. Well, we didn't put the plug in, but if you are part of our Patreon, we will see you at the meeting after the meeting. We got some juicy stuff happening. Mr. Jesse got some things he's gonna share. We attended. I don't know if everybody. She said she's just trying to hold on until she could retire. I know that's right. I know that's right.
no, and then Linda, once you retire with your skill set, you can work from home and have a nice little cushy retirement if you want to, because that knowledge that you have is so needed, especially experience.
Hmm.
So, I know I get the whole retirement thing, but once you retire, life starts all over.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I hear.
Well, I have firsthand knowledge of that. So, one of my friends, colleagues, she was at retirement age. She was ready to go, and for whatever reason, the organization never thought about succession for what it was she did. So they end up creating a consultant kind of relationship with her. So they helped her put together the business so that she can on her time when she wanted to still be able to provide the services that they needed on a consultant perspective. So it's all kinds of ways out here to get it.
Mhm.
It's all kinds of ways to get it. And I love that. I love that. So we'll be talking about a lot of those things at the meeting after the meeting. So check out the Patreon. It is in the link so that you can join us and get the additional hot steaming tea.
And before we wrap up, I
Yes, sir.
I would like the people in the comments to tell us what they would like for us to talk about. What topics would they want to see us cover? Because we
Yes,
just
yes.
introduced stuff, but
We're just introduced. And
it's
if
just
you
a
see some
conversation.
things, that's right. And anybody can be part of our Patreon. You can put information there. You can email us directly. You can just put it in the comments. We'll pull it from the comments from this video as well. Because it's out there. We kind of have a slant where we go. But yeah, we're interested in knowing um what's out there. What are you seeing? We call all of y'all we have one special on the street correspondent, the crafty
Yeah.
coder, but all of y'all could be part of that delegation. So
Mhm.
let us know. We will be happy to bring information or just bring the topic up and let's just have a conversation. um
Definitely.
on what it is that you
Because
think.
it's our community collectively.
It's our community collective. You are, look at you. You are absolutely correct. So yes, the tea, I believe, was spilled today. And if this information was valuable for you, help us share this message with others by sharing the video and subscribing to the channel. Be sure to follow us for more information on all things health information, compliance, revenue cycle, and medical coding. And as you leave, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button. Your engagement helps us provide information to others, because then we are part of the whole algorithm and people see us and they are like, oh, wait a minute, I want to be part of that. And we can add numbers to the tribe. Okay. Okay. Don't forget to also check out the Coding Nurse channel on YouTube. Mr. Jesse drops those gems. Y'all already know he's the, oh, I love that. The Community Collective. I love that. I love that. He's now the attorney you didn't know you needed, the other type of coder, medical coder, and he can bandage you all up from the nursing perspective. So he's he got it all. He got it all in the back.
But keeping it 100, I really did think about doing a paralegal online course. I would be dangerous with some law books.
And I'm still toying with the idea of that as well. I feel something pulling me and tugging me. My mind be like, "Are you kidding me?" But I feel the pull and tug. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll wait till we get to the meeting after the meeting, because that'll be a whole
Yeah.
other thing. Can you imagine? Okay. Anyway.
Yes, I
So.
can. Yeah.
So this has been a great session today. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, take care, have a great weekend, and we will talk soon. We will definitely talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everybody.